I am so excited because the Step Out TV shows are back live on T2I TV. And for those who don't know, Step Out is a series of interviews and motivational segments designed to bring the best out of you and your business. Therefore, we have the following TV programs. Our first TV program, which is our flagship program, dubbed Step Out with Oscar Bimpong, is designed to interview consultants, experts, talented people, and those doing exceptionally well in their communities. The second one is Step Out SME Focus. This is where we interview business owners and showcase their products and services. The third one is Step Out Youth Impact Zone. This is where we interview young people succeeding against all odds to serve as an inspiration to other young people. And the last one is Step Out Authors Corner. And this is where we interview authors to share what their book is about to the world. Join us every week. Like T2I TV on Facebook and subscribe to the YouTube channel. To advertise or for further information, do WhatsApp +44 759 1152 983 or +233 55 580 3924 or email info@traintoinspire.com. T2I TV, we engage, educate, enlighten, and empower.
Welcome to another exciting edition of the Step Out with Oscar Bimpon show. And tonight is another powerful segment that we are bringing your way just to inspire you, educate you, cause you to have the needed knowledge in pursuit of life, your vision, or your career. And tonight is also another powerful session. If you are watching us, I want to encourage you to share this for somebody to have an opportunity to watch this. Also, like our page on Facebook and subscribe to our YouTube channel. For those that don't know me, my name is Oscar Bimpon. I am your regular host for the Step Out TV shows. And please don't change the dial. We are going to have an amazing discussion tonight. Now, my guest is already seated, but before I bring on my guest, I would like to mention a few of our sponsors. This program is sponsored by Train to Inspire Consultancy. That is your business training and consulting firm. Also, Train to Inspire work with students in colleges, universities, and also in second cycle institutions in relation to the personal development of students. So if you really want to bridge the gap between academia and industry, what you need is Train to Inspire Consultancy to really work on students for them to be relevant in the marketplace. Then also ZPay Ghana Limited, your remittance and mobile money company based in Ghana. ZPay just launched their USSD code for mobile money, and that is *270#. Just dial it on your phone and register for ZPay mobile money. Now, if you want to contact any of our sponsors, their contact details are scrolling on the screen. Just take it and contact them. Also, if you want to sponsor any of our shows, you are more than happy to do so. Just take the number for T2Y TV UK or Train to Inspire Consultancy to contact us. Also, if you want to support what we are doing with any form of resource, just take the same number and contact us, and we are going to work together because we want to bring this to the four corners of the continent of Africa and also those in the diaspora. This is an educative session that is driving change on the continent and in the diaspora, and be part of history by investing on a good cause. Now, who do I have on the hot seat? Okay, my guest is seated and she is right here. And somebody might say, what are we going to talk about? I am going to really talk about our topic for discussion very soon. But before I go on to that, I would like to really give a bit profile to my guest. My guest is an academic and qualified assessor. She is an entrepreneur. She is an esthetician, and also she's a skincare specialist. Please welcome Zephina Charlery to Step Out with Oscar Bimpon, and you are live on T2I TV UK.
Hi, Oscar. How are you?
Good. And yourself?
Very well, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Wow. How has your day been?
Eventful. I did a workshop this morning for some young people about skincare, because they kind of wanted to know about skincare. So I've been literally Zooming all day. Wow. So you're my last one today.
So I'm just been lucky to have you after this long day. It's quite Saturday. You shouldn't be that busy, isn't it?
Yeah, that used to be my past life. Now I'm more than busy, busier than ever, and I'll be working tomorrow also.
Wow, that's good to hear. If you are busy, don't complain, especially if it's bringing in the money. Because
no complaints.
Some people are not busy at all, but they are looking to be busy. All right. So our topic for discussion is business startup and development. But before we go on that, if somebody is watching you for the first time, who is Zephina in your own words?
Zephina, in my own words, is someone who strives not for perfection, but strives for something where everybody can attain. So the things that I do is things that anybody can achieve once they put their mind to it. So I am into education. Being educated is key for me. And I'm very much into sharing that knowledge onto other people. Because a lot of people kind of misunderstand and misread the importance of being educated and how far that can actually take you in life. Whether you actually don't utilize the education you've done, it kind of opens up another porthole for you. So I'm all about taking what I've learned and sharing it onto other people.
You made a statement and it said you will delve into things that anybody at all can do.
Yes.
Is it kind of easy, and why is it that a lot of people cannot do it?
I think you have to have that thirst and hunger. I mean, I'm a mum of three, so there's from the terms of a woman's perspective, a female perspective, we train a lot of women that have children and things of that nature. So sometimes they can find, having kids kind of barriers to them moving forward. To where they kind of want to be, and sometimes they kind of want to wait years until the kids have grown up before they start thinking about education in terms of moving on. But I've never been that type of a person. I'm like, we got to hit the ground running, and it's something we got to start now, and we got to find a solution. So I'm all about solutions. So if something's happening, then how do we fix that? How do we go around that? How do we get that so we get to our end goal ultimately? So it is something that anyone can achieve, but I think you have to be hungry. I think you have to be motivated, and I think you need to be realistic in your achievements. And I think you need to have a plan in how you're going to execute this, because I think people start off with something and then it kind of dwindles away when it gets a little bit tough. So I think people need to realize that being entrepreneurial is tough. So you've got to be a bit of a tough cookie.
Yeah. I remember I was having a conversation with a lady, and she was like, I've got this business idea, but Oscar, I can't start it now. I have to wait for the next 5, 6, 7 years when my children are a bit grown up. And I'm like, okay, go to YouTube, search for women with 3, 4, 5 children that are running successful business. And if you don't find any, don't start the business. If you find some, then it means that you are not new. So She came back and they said there are loads and loads of them. So I said, why are you postponing the idea for the next 5-7 years? And by the time you come back the next 5-7 years, that business will have been outdated. And
yeah.
yeah. Anymore.
Yeah, exactly. But unfortunately, Oscar, this is something a lot of I mean, I can only talk from a female perspective because, you know, we're the ones that normally have the children with us all the time. So from a female perspective, this is something that happens regularly where women put their life on hold when I am definitely about solutions and finding ways forwards that they can still achieve without putting their life actually on hold and actually enjoy what they're doing and still enjoy being a mum. So you don't have to have either, you can have both. So you can be a parent and be a mum and still be a businesswoman.
Wow. Exactly. I think people are not hungry enough, isn't it?
100%. We get a lot of ladies that come into our academy, you know, because they find me very inspirational. They're like, Zeph, I want to be like you. I want to start my own business, you know, and they start off well, and then eventually when it starts getting down to the nitty-gritty of business, they kind of fall to the wayside because a lot of people think it's quite glamorous initially. There's nothing glamorous about what we do. It looks glamorous on the outside externally, but the having to make sure that you can pay your bills, making sure you got business coming in. I mean, for me personally, I wear about 8 different hats being entrepreneurial. You know, and still having to be a mum and still, you know, having to be someone's partner, and still having to be a mum and, you know, with everyone else and still having a life in between all of that. So I think people need to really have an idea of what it is they actually really want, rather than seeing other people and thinking it's easy and I can do that. They need to kind of sit down, you know, find a goal. This is exactly what I want to do, and map out their paths before they start. A lot of people don't map their paths before they start. They just jump in and then think, oops, I want to jump back out. This is not for me. So I think mapping your path is really important so that you know exactly what type of qualifications you have to achieve in order to get to the next post, how I can achieve that. And I'd also say to people, which I had to do, work in that industry before you probably start your own business in that industry. Because by working in someone else's industry, you get to see all the flaws. You get to find out whether it's something actually for you before you start investing money and time and effort. And just see if that's something that you can take and move forward. So I would probably say to people that want to be entrepreneurial, start their own business, work in the industry first. I mean, I did it for years. I worked in FE colleges, then I worked in private establishments, and I was able to see how they ran as a business. And I was able to extract things that I liked from that business. And I was able to think, well, I'm not going to do that in my business because that doesn't actually work. And I did that for a good few years. And in between that, I saved my money. So I worked really hard and I just saved and saved and saved and saved, because you're going to need to have collateral behind you when you're starting any business, you know, and you're going to have good credit as well, because that helps if you do need to go to the bank.
Yeah, I know. One of the psychology of how people want to start business, that over the years as a business consultant, when I'm dealing with entrepreneurs or business people, a lot of them are only motivated about the profit margins and what they are going to make.
Yeah, this is a big thing. This is a big thing, and I think it's a bit of a myth. And I think you have to love and like what you're doing initially. So when things are a bit tough, and you're finding it a bit rough, you're not going to bail out, because it's something that you love and it will just flow naturally to you. You'll be more creative naturally if you're doing something that you love, rather than falsifying it. You know, you don't mind researching about that topic so that you can move forward. And, you know, I'm all about energy. So everything should just be flowing. If it's not flowing and you're forcing it, you'll find that you'll have a lot of barriers and boundaries to moving forward. And then when you find that flow and it flows correctly, then the money will follow for sure.
Yeah, I always tell people that money is the byproduct of your hard work.
Yes.
So if you don't love what you do, then don't expect the money to come, because the journey is full of challenges.
Yeah.
And I always say that nobody, if you have got a hobby, nobody goes, for example, if I love golf or I love football, and today I go and play football and they score me, I will not say the next day I'm not going to play football because they scored me. The next day I will still be on the field. Why? It's because I love football. But a lot of people don't love what they do, so when they fail, they rather stop. Nobody fails in their hobby, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, I'm quite fortunate where I can actually say that I do really enjoy what I do, and it allows me to meet so many different types of people from all different types of walks of life, all different types of ages, and it exposes me to a lot of positive things, i.e. being on your platform with you, and what I was doing today with other young entrepreneurs. So you do have to love what you have to do. I mean, I've had positions, in my academy where we've trained students for a whole year and never got paid because the funders decided that they wanted to squander the money instead of paying us to deliver training. So it's these types of things in business that you sometimes may encounter. So when you're not getting paid and you're still teaching the learners because you understand it's not the learner's fault, that's when you know for sure that you absolutely love what you do.
I call it the nature's call. If it's about money, you will not do it for free. But you see these things in its natural instinct even open doors for you over time. For you investing in people's life by nature, it opens doors for you, because you see, a lot of people think giving is only about money. No, giving is also about your skills, your talent, your knowledge, giving it out for people for free. I do a lot of transformational speaking, and I've done so many speaking engagements free. Sometimes I use my own phone, drive somewhere, go and speak, and come back home, and my missus is today to empty-handed, right?
And sometimes that is just how it is. A lot of the times you may do stuff at different points in your life where you're not getting paid for it, but you're getting paid universally in another format because you're giving freely. You're giving with an open heart and you're giving freely, and that type of information you're giving is worth more than its weight in gold. Because from I do a lot of workshops and it's free. I don't charge for my services and stuff of that nature, but from doing that, then someone else will see it. And that's what's been happening. It's been like snowballing, and then someone else, wants to come and do stuff with us. And then eventually they'll say, okay, well, we want to do something with you, practically. So that means we have to come and see you, which means, we're going to pay for that. So it does come, but you definitely can't be putting money at the forefront when you're running a business. We all need money because we need to survive, and we understand that goes without saying. But I think if you're going to start a business or become entrepreneurial, if your forefront is definitely about money, I would say that's not a good look. Because if it doesn't happen, then what happens?
What happens? Yeah. I think I'm on the same page with you. But let's delve a little bit deep into this business stuff. But now every business starts from an idea, right?
Yes.
How difficult is it to build good ideas that people will love to the extent that they want to pay you for?
I've had people say, I'm not creative. I can't think of anything. I want to be entrepreneurial, and nothing's coming. I think when you think too hard, about stuff, that's when you have a mental block. I think it's something you just need to allow to flow naturally, and you need to look at where your skill sets lie. So what are you really good at? What are you very creative at? And with that, you can then bundle that into creating a demand for people that want to buy your services. And I think it's something where you need to be quite confident in what you're offering, and realizing that what you have to offer is worth people paying for. Because a lot of people have really good ideas, but sometimes don't come forward because they don't have enough confidence, or they think no one will be interested in that, no one will buy into that. But I'm very much a believer of, if you don't know, then you don't try it, then how do you know? So I'd always tell people to just allow things to flow naturally. A lot of people that I know become entrepreneurials where they've had a situation with their work where they've been made redundant sometimes. And then from that, they've had an idea that they've been sitting on for ages, and then they make that become a reality. So I think fear has a lot to do with holding people back in reaching their potentials sometimes. So I think people really need to work on the fear factor. Again, if you're used to working like PAYE for an organization where you get, monthly pays, then sometimes that can be a barrier, because you're not prepared to let go of that, because you're scared that you're not going to make it work with becoming entrepreneurial. So you actually just stay and just do nothing in a job that you actually despise. So I think that you're going to have to allow things to flow naturally, and don't force things to happen. Things happen as and when they are supposed to. And I think when you have that mindset, then it will flow naturally. Some people are very creative more in the night. I used to be really creative more in the night, like maybe 2-3 o'clock in the morning was where I found my most creative point. When everyone's gone to bed and the house is really, really still. And I had like a journal, like a doodle book, and I would doodle things down, because I'd have shoots of creativity, and then I couldn't remember what it was. So I used to have a book beside my bed, and I used to make notes and jot things down. And then from that, things would then grow, because what I do now started off just with, I was at university, actually, how my business started. And we had to come up with a viable business plan. So I came up with a nail bar inside the university, because people needed that luxury, and they needed to be pampered while they were having like long waits between their seminars and their lectures. So we came up with this plan, just off the cuff, and I thought, I'm going to run with this. I actually like this idea, and I think it could work. And the university that I was studying has a business hub where you'd go in and you'd talk about your business and stuff, and they would support you and help you. And I went in and I said, look, I did this idea as a presentation for university, and I think it's viable enough to actually become a reality. And they thought it was awesome. They was like, well, how are you going to get funding? What are you going to do? And I joined up to this program called I think it's called East London Small Business. Which they gave me the link for that, which was awesome. So what they did is they set up a business plan where I had to see how I was going to take this, something that was just on piece of paper, to become a reality within their campus. So I did that. I came up with some funding, managed to get some funding, which I would have had to have paid back, but it would have helped to get the initial products. And the rest is history. Literally, put a nail bar in the University of East London. And then from doing that, I then was able to build on the creative side of that. So sometimes it's really good to start off small with something. And then from that small something, you can then build onto bigger stuff. So I was able to be more creative because something now was tangible. I could see it, I could feel it. It was real. And from that, I was able to then build on. And that's where I decided, you know what, I'm going to just do a training school instead. So I moved location because we needed a bigger room, a bigger space, because we was growing rapidly and people was hearing about us and stuff. And mind you, when started the nail bar, we was doing nails and manicures and pedicures. I didn't have a qualification in doing nails. I had a qualification in being a beauty therapist. So I didn't even have the qualification at the time. So I went off, got the qualification, because it's always good to know what you're doing. And then I opened up the academy from that point on, and I've never looked back from that point. So something that could just start as a little seed. And I mean, and we've been at this location we're in Chinkford in East London, and we've been there 9 years now. Wow. In that location.
Wow. Now, you made mention of starting small, right?
Yes.
What do you think are the advantages of starting small if I've got enough to start big?
Well, by starting small, it's not too scary, because when you're starting off in a business, it can be quite kind of like scary, like, oh my God, I'm doing this. I'm doing it by myself. I actually wanted to go into partnership with someone because I thought, can I handle this? Can I do this on my own? And then I realized I had a couple of talks with myself and then realized actually I could do this on my own. So starting small just acts like, like a little bird in a nest before you fly off and find your own kind of nest. So I would always probably say, and also starting small means that you don't need as much capital. So in terms of products and stuff of that nature, you're not going to need as much. So I think starting small is probably the best viable, because I still had to pay rent. The room that we had was really small initially. I had my products, but it was manageable at that point in time. And I think that's how a lot of businesses run into problems sometimes, because they jump in way too quickly. It's not manageable. Things happen. And then I always say all the time, it's really easy to start a business, but sustainability of a business is probably one of the most difficult things to do. How do you keep your business going? So starting small will kind of give you that momentum. And then, in terms of your creative juices, you can flow and add things. So I added things onto the business as I started to grow. So I was thinking, okay, we could do with this. And you kind of need to see what your target audience is. So when you start small, you can kind of gauge what kind of demographics you're going for, who's interested in what you're doing. And then from that point on, you can then grow on that.
Wow. Because I think to even add to what you are saying, I think one of the areas is experience, isn't it?
Yes.
Because if you start small and you get the needed experience, you fail within the small that you have. It gives you that, it becomes an asset for your growth. So somebody starts from here and somebody starts from here. If I fall, I'm close to the ground than if I fall from here. The damage from here can be too much than somebody that is falling from here. So I think the experience that you gain in terms of starting small can be an asset to your growth. So I always advise entrepreneurs, don't start big even if you have got all the resources to start big. Start small and build. And over time, you will realize that you become so solid in your foundation that you cannot fall below a certain level due to the experience that you've had. Now, let's really go into the thing called fear. A lot of people, when you engage a lot of people when it comes to business and entrepreneurship, a lot of people are afraid.
Yes.
Probably about the money they are putting in, probably about what other people will say. So how can people overcome fear?
Fear is a really big factor. I think it plays a really big factor, and it's something that I experienced when I was first going into business, and I was really fearful. My fear was failing, so I didn't want to fail. So that's what I was really scared about. And I think to prevent that from happening, you need to do your homework, you need to do your research before you start. Like I was saying earlier, Oscar, working in that field before you jump into it yourself. So you have enough education on it, you kind of understand how it works, how it doesn't work. So if you surround yourself with all these skill sets, you will be able to walk into your greatness and be really confident, rather than walking into something and you're like, oh, I don't know about that. I don't know if that's going to work. I don't know if that's going to work. I mean, in business generally, when you're working for yourself, the ultimate factor is, how do I generate income? How do I get people to buy the services or products that I'm offering? But if you have a good platform and you know what you're doing initially, and you have some collateral behind you, that can kind of ease those kind of growing pains as you go into business. Because a lot of people, especially if they're coming from working PAYE, as I said earlier, to then shifting to being entrepreneurial. I mean, I've always been entrepreneurial, always. I mean, I've worked for other organizations, but I've always done something on the side. So I've probably been entrepreneurial for myself, probably maybe about 15 years. I've been doing this now as an entrepreneur, but a lot of people are coming from where they are paid every single month. And I think the mindset, changing your mindset from being like a sheep, what we call sheep mentality, and just being more open-minded and realizing, do you know what, there's a lot more to me and I can offer a lot more to other people. So I think when people start changing their mindset, they'll be able to lift a lot of the barriers that surrounds itself around there.
Yes. And I think mindset is everything. And I think this is my new book. It's called Mindset Revolution, Re-engineering Your Mind from Prison to Purpose, And mindset, I think for now, like with your academy, right? Anytime you get a new batch, you should get me to come and speak to them to set their mind right for the journey ahead.
Okay.
That is how it's supposed to be. Because you see, most of the times, one thing I've realized is that we seek for the things outside when it comes to our vision, right? So, okay, I need a business premises, I need money. All those things are good. But the thing that we neglect most, that is very critical and very powerful to our success, is working on the mind. Because it is the mind that is going to really manage all those resources you are seeking outside.
Yeah.
But if that mind does not have a solid foundation, how can it manage those resources outside? And I think these are some of the things that we neglect. And that is the foundation I'm building. And this is how I've positioned myself. So whether it's about business, whether it's about career, whatever it is, I need to come in and set the mind right of the people that you want to deal with. Because you see, until their mind is set on a certain level, that is why they face challenges and they give up.
Yes.
You see, some of us, we have set our minds for our minds to walk through walls. So when we see wall, we don't see wall as an obstacle, but our minds can really walk through the walls because we always find solutions to problems. And that is how we need to set the minds of entrepreneurs. But I think you are making a very good point when it came to mindset. Now, what mindset does somebody need to enter into business such that it doesn't matter what happens, they will still succeed?
Say that again.
What mindset do people need to really enter into entrepreneurship, said that it doesn't matter what happens, they will still succeed?
I think in terms of mindset, you're right. This is not something that is necessarily bolted on to being an entrepreneur. When you're an entrepreneur, you're just an entrepreneur, finding the building, finding the location. How do I make money? How do I make money? So I think for me, it took me a long while. My mindset actually, but I didn't know probably what it was at the time, was that I'm going to be entrepreneur and I'm not going to fail. So that was my mindset. My mindset was like, I'm doing this, I'm going in, I've got a lot to prove, and I'm going to make this work. But I think a lot of people, they don't, like you said, they don't feed the brain. They don't do affirmations. They don't do meditations. They don't get the brain and the mind right for what they need to be doing moving forward. So I do find that a lot of entrepreneurs, I know a lot of entrepreneurs around me, some are more successful than others, but the ones that are probably the most successful are the ones that definitely work on their mindset. So creating that space, creating positive energy, finding solutions to problems rather than just finding the problem, and just looking at things on a more positive light. So I think once you start conditioning your mindset for these types of trials and tribulations, because it's just life, and the things that we are exposed to and the things that happen is just part and parcel to life. So you can't be gloom and doom every time something happens. You got to look at the silver lining and think, right, how am I going to work around that? I mean, my thing, when I was first coming into business, was like, I'm not taking no for an answer. No is non-existent to me. So that was my mindset.
Yeah.
I was very adamant about this. I was like, what does no mean? I'm not accepting no. That we're only doing yeses. And, when I went in with that mindset, it made people laugh a lot, because I was like, she's so gutsy. So a lot of the time, I would turn them over. And you have to be friendly. You have to be open to receive what people are giving you. And I think as well, you need to listen to what people are saying. I speak to a lot of other entrepreneurs that are in business, because you're always growing. It doesn't stop because you have a business that you're, the mastermind and you know it all. So I'm consistently always speaking to other people that are like-minded, like me. I'm always searching for how I can receive things better, how I can be more transparent. So for me, in terms of my business, probably in the last maybe 2 years, my mindset has completely done a 360 in terms of how I used to think to what I think now, and how I think now. It's completely different. And I must say, it has helped me a lot. It's helped to keep, because I find that if your mindset is not right, when things happen, you'll get all other ailments. Like I was suffering from high blood pressure, anemia, all these things was happening because I was so frustrated and so angry, and I didn't know where to put that, that eventually having a business can make you sick.
Yeah.
if your mindset is not correct.
Yeah.
So it can make you sick. It can break relationships. You can turn into a really horrid individual. You can have nervous breakdowns. As much as there's a lot of positive sides to being an entrepreneur, if your mind is not set correctly and right, it can have quite everlasting, devastating effects. So I think getting the mind right is probably the most important thing that you can do as an entrepreneur.
I think Zena Walker says the mind is a battlefield.
Yeah.
That is absolutely correct, isn't it?
Yeah. No, definitely. Because not everyone will be with you in how you're thinking. So you're literally having to know your own worth. And knowing your worth and what you're going out to achieve is really, really important. And then for me, everything else to follow. I try not to take too much things on board. I'm kind of like, whatever. Okay, next. Because you can't take everything on board, because the mind is a very powerful and strong tool. So you have to use it for good.
Yeah. That is one thing I tell people, that if you don't win the battle here, you cannot win it outside.
Absolutely.
And a lot of people have lost the battle in their mind before they take a step. So one of my friends came to me and he was like, Oscar, I want to go to Nigeria to go and try whether I can start a business. I told him, don't go, because you have already lost the battle before you take a step. You don't go there to try, you go there to win.
To win, yeah. And that is half the problem. A lot of people probably underestimate how important it is to get the mindset correct before you start the business.
Yes.
And I mean, it's not a thing that some people start. I mean, my mindset was always much like not taking no for an answer. I don't want to fail, so I'm winning. So the battle for me was I'm winning. But now I'm kind of taking it and stepping up to another level. But a lot of people don't have the mind right, and I do see sometimes it doesn't just affect your business, it affects your appearance. Some people age a lot more rapidly because of stress and these kind of factors as well. It affects their home life. There's a lot of factors to this. If your mindset is not right, like what's your coping mechanism? How are you coping with all these things? when you're battling, you know, when you walk through, when you leave your front door and you've got to go out, or you're battling at work, you're battling at home, you're battling your family, you're battling everyone. So getting the mind right will allow you to, you know, win these battles as and when they come.
The battle is in the mind. And if you can win it in the mind, you can win it on the outside. Yeah. And you see, there is this thing, right? That people lose the battle before they take that step. You know, so in their minds. So sometimes when I look at people's body language, I listen to what they say, right? Oh, I'm just going to try. Oh, I know I cannot win it, but I'm going to do my best. All these things are signs that the mind is not set right.
Yeah.
You know, I was speaking to one of my son's friend, and he's a very good athletics, very good in athletics, 100 meters. And I told him that, look, you are going to be the next Usain Bolt. He said, no. There is no way I can come close to him. Meaning that he has already set a limitation on his mind before he takes the step.
Yeah.
And until we get it right.
Yeah. Well, the they say as well as the mind, but the what we speak is really powerful. So I see people do it all the time, and I really have to be mindful now, because obviously I'm going in a different kind of spiritual realm in terms of how I'm walking now. So you have to really be careful of what you're saying and how you're saying it. And a lot of people, when they're speaking about themselves, speak about themselves in the most derogatory manner. So they speak about themselves as not being able to conquer, not being able to achieve, that they're unable to do it, where they have to start doing the reverse, because it's really easy to actually say negative stuff about what you're doing. And this is how these kind of things are manifested without them even knowing it within their subconscious. So you have to subconsciously start actually saying, I am great. And I know it's really strange when you start doing that, because people think, oh, she's a bit full of herself. But this is how you move forward in terms of achieving what you need to achieve, by actually speaking positivity over what you're doing. This is how it works.
You know, in the book, I talked about the thought cycle, yeah? And thought cycle means that your thoughts become your voice. Your voice becomes your actions. Then your actions becomes habitual. That becomes your hobby, right? Then your habits translate into your character. And your character definitely will define your destiny. So the things you say to yourself on a consistent basis, you become.
Yes.
It's as simple as that.
Yeah, it is as simple as that. But again, things like that, what you're referring to, I found more and more is not really spoken about when you're, you know, doing entrepreneur, when you're becoming an entrepreneur, when you're speaking to other people. This is something that, like you said, the main things people are looking at is how can I make money, how all these other factors, but absolutely 100% forgetting that the mental mind and what you're saying and stuff like that bears so much witness over what you're doing. So yeah, I think that book sounds like my kind of book that people kind of need to start being mindful of what they're saying and having a bit more confidence and believing in what they're doing.
Exactly. And I think that is the foundation of your success. You see, if that foundation is not built right, that is why people get a lot of resources. They win the lottery and they lose it. Why? Because the foundation, which is the mind, is not strong enough to handle such resources. And so for me, I've positioned myself that, look, there is no point getting 100,000 pounds, 200,000 pounds and losing it, because my mind is not set right to handle such resources.
Yeah. Well, I stopped playing the lottery, because what playing the lottery meant to me when I started to divulge more into, you know, how the mind works and stuff, means that what I'm doing within my business is not going to be successful, because I'm hoping that I'm going to be successful and win money through the lottery. So, and I'm taking a risk and a chance that maybe I might win the lottery and maybe I might win some money, when this is not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is I am making money, and that's how it has to work. So for that purpose, I actually stopped doing the lottery, because every time I used to do it, I used to sit there thinking, I hope I win, I hope I win, I hope I win. And this is not how it's structured. This is not how it works. We're not hoping. We're speaking as though it has already happened.
You know, I read one article some years back, and that is when I stopped really, doing this lottery stuff. Yeah, and the article said that you are more likely to be knocked down by a car than to win the lottery. Since then, I
Oh God, no, I didn't see that article.
I don't know where that article is. I just chanced on that article, and I'm like, wow, this is on a different level, Yeah. But let's go. I think time is so. If the conversation is good, look at the way time is running.
I know.
Yeah. Now let's talk about money. Yeah. Now, as a business consultant, when I'm dealing with my clients, there is one thing that is always a worry for me. And you see, you speak to people today, the next 5 years, you ask them, you meet them again, and you say, so what happened to that business? And they said, I haven't started. Why haven't you started? Then they will say, I don't have the money. So money has been a big obstacle to a lot of ideas that are still not yet born. Now, how much do you need to start? How much is enough? How can you really get a way to get the money to start your business? Can you really talk to us? Any ideas?
I think that when you're starting a business, people always assume that maybe it might cost more than what they have already in their bank without actually really going out and sourcing this information. So I think actually going out and finding that information, so you know exactly what it's going to cost, what you need, is probably the first point of call, because a lot of people don't necessarily, they think, oh, I thought it was this, or oh, I thought it was less. So I think finding out and getting that information is really important as your first kind of starter. Also, contacting organizations that kind of help with small businesses, because sometimes they can help you with funding, depending on what you're doing. You'd have to do a business plan with them first. And they can kind of help you to get you off the ground so you can actually start. If you've got a business plan, you can go to your bank and get a business loan to help you with your business. I find with banks, though, that you're going to have a little bit of money yourself. And I would say that definitely if you're starting a business, I mean, I saved a lot of money before starting my business. I worked 7 days a week. So I could have enough money put beside, because at the time I didn't know how much it was going to cost to do what I needed to do. So I saved really, really hard, and I worked really hard in order to do that. So you're going to have a little bit of money, because sometimes these organizations want to see if you believe in your own business. So if you have zero in your bank account that you're prepared to put forward for your own business, then why should they invest in your business? And that's normally the rule of thumb. So if you invest, and again, this is the state of mind, your state of mind. So if you believe in your business, you will have and be prepared to put something in the pot. And maybe some organizations, there's loads of different organizations out there that will kind of help people that are starting in new businesses, but you're going to have to come up with a little something first. And that's the realism of it.
Wow. Now your business is off the ground.
Yes.
How do you grow the business?
I grow the business by not acting like it's my business, probably. So when people never necessarily know that I own it. And again, that's just a state of mind thing. And most definitely, I think when you're in a business, it's much more easier to become more creative whilst you're in a business, because then you'll see areas that you kind of want to grow, or that you can grow, that you can add into your business. So I think it's quite a good opportunity to kind of seek out different types of things. I'm always re-educating myself, because sometimes in order for me to shift into a new business, I have to, because of what I do, have to be educated in that. So learning never stops. So that's one thing I would always say. Don't have a business and just think, well, that's just it, I don't need to do anything else, because in everything that I've had to do in terms of adding something on, I've had to go and re-educate myself again in order for that to happen. Also, I like to speak to other people that have businesses, like other entrepreneurs and other people, to kind of see what they think I should kind of add onto my business and what do they kind of think would work well. So this is a situation where no man is an island, and I definitely think sometimes it's good to pair up with other like-minded people to see a much more broader scope, to see how you can, expand.
Wow. I'm really enjoying this discussion, but look at the time.
Oh, we've only got 5 minutes.
Look at the time, when the conversation is good, trust me, 1 hour is not enough, Yes. Now, what advice are you going to give to anybody that is about to start a business?
Don't jump into it lightly, especially if you want your business to be sustainable and you don't want to waste money. So I think most definitely you should be business plan. But no one likes doing a business plan. I despise doing it when I first started my business. I was like, why do I have to do this? But it really is good at mapping out where you're kind of going or where you want to go. So you're not just walking in blind. So I would say business plan. It took me years before I started my business, probably about 4 years of working for other people, planning it out before I went into my own business. So if it's meant to be for you, it will be for you. And I'm a great believer in that. But you have to get yourself prepared. Don't go into a business and you are not prepared. It will not work. It will crash. It will burn. You'll lose a lot of finances. Your ego will be bruised. And then you'll be back at the beginning. What do I do now? Some people lose businesses and start again because sometimes it's just, it just wasn't the right place and time, and that's fine. But I just think going in armored is the best possible way forward.
And I always tell people that don't be fooled by the profit margins, because that is just one aspect of the whole business. Because and I always advise people that if somebody says this business is good and you want to go into that business, don't ask them about too much about the money aspect. Ask them about the challenges they are facing in a business. Because most of the time, people tell you only the positives, but they don't tell you the negatives. And if you don't ask, they don't really talk about it. So ask them what are some of the challenges that they are facing that person thinks that you are more likely to face. And you see, until we get that balance, that is when we get into the business, we rather have a very serious shock in terms of challenges that comes on our way, and because of that, we are more likely to give up.
And I mean, that's what I wrote about I wrote a book called The Guide to Running a Beauty Training School, and it's about those types of things, because people don't necessarily want to tell you the pitfalls or the things that they've encountered. I mean, I've been told when I first started my business, oh, why don't you Google it and find out? I'm asking you for help. So not everyone wants to help you. So I kind of wrote something where people can, within our industry, can kind of go straight to that point and think, oh, okay, I'll try not to do that in future. So you got a bit more of a guide, because I had no guide. My mum was a really good guide. My mum guided me a lot because she was a business owner beforehand. But people not always willing to help. So it's good if you can get a guide somewhere for someone to assist you along the way, because it can be a very long path.
Yeah. Find a mentor in business, isn't it?
Yes.
Wow. Zeph, it's been wonderful having you on the show, and I've enjoyed every bit of it.
And you've been a lovely host, very gracious. Thank you.
Oh, I'm blessed. I think I've got some few comments here. Norma Ellie says, Zeph, Zeph has a great energy in motivating others. Zena Walker says, are we predestined? Norma Ellie says, our ways is our power. She says, aiming, the battle is in the mind. And she also says, it took me a long time to fail and realize the mindset is the key. Then Zena says, the mind is a battlefield. Norma Ellie says, also the keys is one need to be able to deliver all the services themselves, as others have a way of letting you down. Okay. I think I've got some few more comments here. Smart Food says thumbs up. Norma Ellen says so true, Zev. And then they are doing what you are doing, but it's not their passion or their gift. And he also say, and this is where the stumble comes, when they are not making money. And I've got Beauty Palette says, thank you for sharing your knowledge. I don't know whether Beauty Palette, I don't know whether I've known, is the name called Ngozi? I've seen that name before somewhere else. Yes, so, man, it's been wonderful having you, Zev. What is your last word to anyone that is watching us?
Stay focused. Be determined and walk into your greatness.
Stay focused. That is the word, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I always say that our eyes were put in front of us for a reason. That is for us to look ahead and to stay focused.
Yeah. And don't watch other people, because we don't know how people are doing what they're doing. And that's how a lot of people trip up over themselves, because they're busy watching everyone else. So stay in your lane, stay focused, and all is well.
So when you are driving,
stay in your lane.
Keep on looking. Accident, isn't it?
Exactly. Stay in your lane.
Yeah. Please, if you are watching, share this for somebody to have the opportunity to watch this program, and also like our page T2I TV UK on Facebook and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Also, my book is on Amazon. Mindset Revolution: Reengineering Your Mind from Prison to Purpose. Get a copy for yourself. Buy some for your children. Right? It is better for us. I always say this, that the most powerful legacy and inheritance we can give to our children are not resources that we will hand to them, but a powerful mind. A mind that believes that whatever they put their mind to, they can achieve it. I've started working this on my daughter. My daughter started riding bicycle 3 days ago. And yesterday, she just rode the bicycle with no stress. And I asked her, how did you do it? He said, Daddy, I believed in myself. We need to start to work it. And this is a 7-year-old daughter. We need to start working on the minds of our children. That is the most powerful legacy we can leave for them. And the book is written in simple, plain language that any child can read it. Let's work on the minds of the people that surround us. This book is £8.99. It's less expensive than pizza.
And less on the hips.
So, look, get a copy and let's build the community we want. Let's build entrepreneurs from our community. Let us stand tall. Let us leave a legacy for our children. That our children will say, we lived, but we left a legacy that they can also work on. God bless everyone that took their time to watch us. And God bless you, Steph, for your time.
Thank you, Oscar. God bless you too. And thanks to everyone for watching and taking the time out. And I wish you all the best.
Thank you.